The 2019 repatriation of North Korean defectors back to the DPRK, returning individuals to North Korea, has been the subject of numerous recent controversies. Learn more about the issues surrounding the repatriation of North Korean defectors today. What is the North Korean defectors repatriation case? On November 2, 2019, 2 North Koreans towed a ship down to Samcheok, Gangwon-do. It turned out that they had killed 16 people, including the captain of the ship, from North Korea and came down to defect, refers to when a former enemy leaves a rebellious mind and obeys. The government determined there was no sincerity in their intentions and forcibly repatriated them after taking into account the reasons behind and details surrounding their defection. The defectors were ultimately deported to North Korea via Panmunjom, where they were later executed for their crimes. As the new government begins a reinvestigation of the case, the situation is once again in a new light 3 years later. Agree, repatriation to North Korea was justified. The parties that argued for just repatriation are the government, the Ministry of Unification, and the Democratic Party of Korea, which was the ruling party at the time in 2019. Their argument is as follows. First, the investigation was sufficient, and the murder charges were proven. Second, according to Article 9 of the North Korean Defectors Protection and Settlement Support Act, the defected North Korean sailors committing murder cannot be considered subjects of protection. Third, the defectors came to South Korea to avoid punishment after committing a heinous crime and not to live in South Korea, so the purpose of defection is unclear. Fourth, in 1985, there was also an incident where 2 Chinese naval officers came to Korea after a maritime revolt and killed 6 people, and the government had a record of sending them back to China. Fifth, in most recent opinion polls, 50 to 60% of the citizens are in favor of repatriation back to North Korea. Opposition: repatriation to North Korea shouldn't have been done. The current administration, the People Power Party, which was in opposition at the time, lawyers, constitutional and international law experts, and human rights advocacy organizations were among those who opposed repatriating the North Koreans. Their arguments are as follows. First, there was insufficient research. They claim that the problem is that the government at the time only received the confession of the defectors and sent them back to North Korea without investigation, prosecution, or trial. Second, there is Article 9 of the North Korean Defectors Protection and Settlement Support Act, but this means that North Korean defectors who have committed crimes can't be supported, but not that they can be repatriated. Third, North Korea is also part of the Republic of Korea according to the Constitution, so North Korean defectors who can be regarded as South Korean citizens must also be legally protected by hiring a lawyer. They argue that it is unconstitutional to repatriate them to North Korea by omitting such a process. Fourth, repatriation to North Korea violates the Universal Declaration of Human Rights Articles 9. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. And 15. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. So it is a violation of international law. Fifth, even if the purpose of defection was unclear, the defectors' intention to defect was clear.